Greetings. My name is Father Peter Fink, and I'm happy to return to Contemplatio, this time from Cambridge, Massachusetts, where cars, bicycles, scooters, people, and occasionally dogs constantly maneuver around each other every day, near Harvard Square with all that Harvard Square has to offer. Well, our time for prayer today is about desire. Not wishing, and certainly not about wishful thinking, but deep down human desires. The desire expressed in Psalm 42, the yearning of the human heart to meet the God who creates us. And the desire that is named by Father George Aschenbrenner, a desire that constitutes and reveals who we really are. We are a person created by God. We are a person even now being created by God. Well, the desire of which we speak is really about a meeting point between you and me and our Creator God. It's about God's desires as well as our own. Of course, God has desires for us, which is why we were created. God has unique desires for each one of us. They are part of our DNA, so much so that if we did not reach out towards them, the action of God creating us would be thwarted. And you and I have desires as well, deep desires, but reaching down within ourselves to find them is not, as Father Aschenbrenner notes, an easy task. Deep desires can so easily be thwarted by lesser desires, some of which are fine if we don't take them simply as that's all there is, and some of which are not fine, and if we choose them, they will lead us away from the desires of God, not towards them. Many times while giving a retreat or during spiritual direction, someone will ask, what does God want of me in the days ahead? And as they ask it, it's as if there's some deep revelation that has yet been spoken outside of themselves that they have yet to hear. But my answer is always very simple. What do you want? What do you really want? That's really the only question. What do you really want? Look at the possibilities in your life and see what gives you joy. Imagine what it would look like to choose in that direction. What are the things in life that keep you from going in that direction? And as you imagine, is it enough? Or is there something even deeper that your heart longs for? Keep looking, but always look within yourself, for that is where you will find both your desires and the desires of God as they meet. Now, there are many places in our Christian and Catholic tradition that point us towards the desires of God. And one of my favorite are the words of St. Paul in 1 Corinthians about love. They spell out what God desires for each one of us. And if we listen to them deeply, we will find God present and inviting us forward. I know you will remember them because they are so frequently proclaimed at weddings you may have gone to. Love is patient. Love is kind. It is not jealous. It is not pompous. It is not inflated. It is not rude. It does not seek its own interests. It's not quick-tempered. It does not brood over injury. It does not rejoice over wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things. Love believes all things, love hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. It's almost poetic. Unfortunately, too often we let those words fly by, perhaps afraid that they might cost too much if I pay too much attention to them. But in the journey to be patient, for example, or kind or not jealous, or any of the other invitations on how to love, that is where you and I will meet God. They're not just human bits of advice, not just human resolve. Being patient or kind or honest or gracious are those points of contact where God is present meeting you, meeting your own freedom, allowing that wonderful reality of your own creation to unfold a bit further. Another place are the gifts of the Spirit, which truly identify how God within each one of us is at work forming and shaping us. All we need to do is to listen, be open, and say yes. These virtues tell us the tale. Be wise. Take time. Be not shallow or superficial. Seek to understand yourself and others, and not be judgmental or unfairly critical. Be open and empathetic and caring as you or others struggle through the paths of life. Be brave in speaking of Jesus and of God's love. Be humble and honest before God. And we have in our Christian tradition signals of the opposite as well. What Ignatius calls inordinate attachments, but more usually are the 7 deadly sins. These are the opposite of God's creation, and to choose them instead is to thwart the meeting point of God's desires for you and your desires for God. For example, pride fills the spot. How often we tend to think, oh, how important I am, or just the opposite, how worthless I am, without getting to the deepest sense of I am what God makes me to be, if I allow God to work with me in doing that. Followed by greed, or carelessness with love, anger, overeating, jealousy, laziness. These are the demons that threaten our journey to be human, our journey to meet the God who creates us. If you take this journey seriously, you will know why Father Aschenbrenner says it is never easy. And let me quote him. It pushes us into a place where a serious conflict is raging for all of us. To discover what we deeply and truly desire forces us to wade into the swamp of needs, expectations, demands, casual wishes, moods, obligations, and so much more. Yet at the same time, the journey through them all echoes Psalm 42. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I meet and behold God face to face? So, here is the challenge for all of us. To look deep within the human heart for a word that is both our own deepest desires, and a word that is not our own, God's deepest desires. For deep within the human heart, you and I meet God and learn again how the desires of God and our own desires meet and join together. That is God's creation of you and me. That is our embracing of God's creation. And that is where you and I join with God as God creates each one of us every day. So peace be with you. It's been good to be with you.